For centuries, humanity had lived in peace in the depths of the galaxy, but they were nearly annihilated by a ruthless alien empire known as the Imperyum. The Empire's relentless drive to exterminate humanity had plunged civilization into its darkest days. Human colonies fell one by one, and Earth was left bloodied in the chaos. Yet there was still hope. Kalen Voss, once renowned as humanity's finest special forces soldier, was now just a man struggling to survive. Among the scattered resistance groups clinging to life on ravaged planets, Voss commanded respect. He had learned to be prepared for anything, and the fire of vengeance against the Imperyum burned hotter within him with each passing day. Together with his trusted allies, Voss set his sights on striking the first blow against the Galactic Empire, the Dorion outpost. This base was one of the central hubs from which alien forces were deployed to eradicate the last remnants of humanity. Voss and his team had spent weeks preparing for their infiltration of the Dorion outpost. His crew consisted of brave souls with nothing left to lose. There was Cashin, the quiet and cold-blooded sniper, Arlen, the explosives expert, and Eldon, a former soldier. Together, they knew they were the last hope of humankind. Voss knelt in a dark cave, reviewing the final plans for the operation. His team gathered around him, listening intently. His voice was calm, but filled with steely determination. "This could be our last chance," he said. "Either we stop them now, or humanity will be wiped out completely. As you all know, the Imperyum is watching our every move, and they are determined to destroy us step by step. But we are smarter than they are. They may boast about their technology, but we have our intelligence and our courage." The team members nodded silently. No one had any intention of turning back. This was humanity's fight for survival. The darkness of night had settled over the massive metallic structure of the Dorion outpost. Kalen Voss and his team moved silently through the shadows. The security patrols around the base, overconfident in their Imperyum technology, had grown complacent. Humanity hadn't been seen as a threat in the galaxy for a long time. But tonight, everything was about to change. Voss led the way, creeping toward the watchtower. Cashin, the silent sniper, had positioned himself, his rifle almost invisible in the darkness. His eyes locked onto two alien soldiers patrolling the area. The Imperyum soldiers were tall and thin, their metallic armor glinting faintly even in the low light. Cashin's hand moved steadily to the trigger. In a matter of seconds, both soldiers dropped to the ground. "Clear," Cashin whispered. Voss signaled the team, and they moved forward. They needed Eldon's expertise to bypass the security systems. A skilled tech expert, Eldon moved through the blind spots of the watchtowers and planted a small device to disable the security grid. "The circuits will go down in a few seconds," he said quietly. "Perfect," Voss replied. "Everyone, get ready. We're going in." As they infiltrated the main building, a surge of electricity seemed to pass through them all. Each of them knew that this attack was only the beginning. Armed with energy rifles, explosives, and the finest examples of human ingenuity, they were ready. The aliens inside had no idea what was coming. They were completely unaware of the approaching storm. Their first contact came at the end of a corridor, where two Imperyum soldiers stood guard. Before they even realized they were being targeted, Arlen had set an explosive, clearing the path for the team to advance. The explosion echoed down the hall, putting the rest of the base on alert. "Move!" Voss shouted as they charged forward, breaking through enemy lines in the corridors. The Imperyum soldiers quickly organized themselves, but the humans proved far more resilient than expected. The enemy, having relied on their technological superiority for so long, was stunned by humanity's unpredictability. Cashin picked off enemy soldiers one by one with precision, the blue energy bursts from his rifle piercing through armor. His calm demeanor during each firefight gave the team confidence. When Eldon and Arlen reached a sealed area, things became more challenging. "I'm not sure what's behind these doors, but it has to be a command center," Eldon said, working on the security codes. Meanwhile, Arlen prepared more explosives. "We don't have time to waste," Voss said impatiently, scanning the surroundings. Arlen finished setting the charges. "These doors will blow in 3 seconds," he said. The blast rattled the doors open with a groan. Voss charged in, his weapon at the ready. The enemy soldiers returned fire immediately, but the humans were much faster than anticipated. Voss and his team unleashed a barrage of energy shots, clearing out enemy positions with swift efficiency. The flashes from their rifles lit up the dark room, and one by one, the Imperyum soldiers fell to the sheer force of the human assault. At the end of the room, an Imperyum officer sat at a large terminal, staring at the screens. His armor and insignias marked him as a commanding officer. As Voss approached, he could see the fear on the officer's face. "Humans were never supposed to get this far," the officer stammered, backing away. "This is impossible. You're nothing but prey." Voss raised his rifle, his expression cold. "We're not prey," he said. "We're hunters." With a single shot, he put the officer down. The alien died without uttering another word. Eldon reached the control panels and began downloading data. "They've got all the Imperyum's attack plans here," he said excitedly. "This is going to help us a lot. Download it fast, and let's get out," Voss ordered without hesitation. As they exited, Cashin had already taken down the last remaining patrols outside. Voss and his team had successfully infiltrated the outpost and dealt a serious blow to the Imperyum. But the fire inside Voss hadn't dimmed. This was only the beginning. They had to show the rest of the galaxy that humanity was still alive. "This victory is just a spark," Voss said, looking up at the dark sky. "But we're going to be the ones to start the fire." Humanity had been forgotten in the galactic arena, but now this strike would ignite a rebellion that would spread across the stars. The Imperyum's arrogance had sown the seeds of their own downfall. Humanity was coming back. After destroying the Dorion base, Voss and his team quickly became symbols of the galactic rebellion. This victory created the first major crack in the Imperyum's armor, reigniting hope among the scattered human colonies across the galaxy. But this was only the beginning. Voss was ready to risk everything to finish the war. The next target was bolder and more ambitious. The capital of the Imperyum, Threa Prime. This planet, the heart of the Empire, had not seen the face of war for years. The massive defense grids and space stations spread across Threa Prime skies were symbols of the Imperyum army's arrogance, who believed themselves to be invincible. As the human resistance completed its preparations for the final blow, Voss reviewed the battle plans. The numbers of his forces had grown. Thousands of human fighters had now joined him. Humanity was uniting from all corners of the galaxy. Under Voss' leadership, this great force was preparing for a battle that would change the fate of the galaxy. In the void of space, just near Threa Prime's atmosphere, hundreds of human warships lined up silently. Voss stood on the bridge of one of the battleships. His eyes were determined, his gaze sharp and filled with anger. This battle wasn't just about victory. It was a moment of revenge for all humanity. "Is everyone ready?" Voss asked, turning to his team. Cashin, Arlen, and Eldon immediately took their positions. Each of them knew that the outcome of this battle would go down in history. "Let's begin," Voss ordered. The first wave of the assault came from the heavy bombardment ships of the human fleet. The sky lit up with energy blasts. Threa Prime's defense systems were immediately activated. The Empire had not anticipated an attack of this scale. The first line of defense crumbled quickly. Laser beams from the human ships pierced through the massive energy shields. Missiles and laser cannons fired from the defense towers in response. Explosions echoed in the void as Voss forces pressed forward toward the defense systems. "Spread all forces," Voss commanded, watching the tactical display. After breaking through the atmosphere, human fighters began landing on the surface of Threa Prime. Voss led a special unit toward one of the most strategic points on the planet, the Imperial Palace. The Emperor's command center was there, and the Resistance's goal was to strike at the heart and destroy the leadership of the Imperyum. As soon as Voss and his team exited their ships, they came under heavy fire. Imperyum soldiers mounted fierce resistance from their fortified positions around the palace. Weapons blazed, laser beams collided mid-air, and metal walls bore witness to the intensity of the battle. While Arlen planted explosives along the palace walls, Cashin picked off distant enemies one by one. Each target eliminated allowed the human fighters to advance confidently. Meanwhile, Eldon hacked into the cyber defense systems, seizing control of the Imperium's defense towers. The fierce fighting raged across all fronts as Voss focused on pushing toward the Imperial Palace. When the palace's massive doors were forced open by Eldon's hacks and Arlen's explosives, Voss and his team stormed inside. The corridors of the palace were filled with alien soldiers. The rage and determination of the human fighters made them powerful in this confined space. As the battle raged in the corridors, the sounds of exploding weapons and cries echoed throughout. Turning a corner, Voss came face to face with the Imperyum commander, Razthar. Razthar was an honorable warrior, but he could see the burning fury in Voss' eyes. When they locked gazes, both men knew this was the final reckoning. "You thought humans had no place in the galaxy," Voss said, raising his weapon. "But we always come back. We don't bow." Razthar drew his blade. "The Imperyum rules this galaxy. You will be nothing but history, human." The two clashed in a deadly fight, where blade met gun. Razthar's combat skills reflected the superiority of the aliens, but Voss' experience and courage kept him standing. Amid the explosions and clashes, Voss brought Razthar down. Looking into the enemy commander's eyes, he coldly made his final strike. With Razthar's death, the resistance throughout the palace collapsed. One by one, Imperyum soldiers surrendered. The palace was now in Voss' hands. His eyes turned to the throne room. When Voss entered the throne room, Emperor Tarthos was calmly seated on his throne. Massive, radiant pillars surrounded him. But to Voss, this grand scene was nothing more than the last remnants of a fallen empire. The Emperor spoke first. "Humanity made a mistake. You won't win this war. We will find you in every corner of the galaxy and wipe you out." Voss approached, his footsteps echoing in the throne room. "Your empire was built on arrogance. You underestimated humanity. We came back to remind you of our victory." A flicker of fear appeared in the Emperor's eyes. Voss raised his weapon and paused for just a moment before pulling the trigger. "This is humanity's vengeance," he whispered. As the trigger was pulled, the final note of this war reverberated across the galaxy. The fall of Threa Prime marked the end of the Imperyum. Voss and the human resistance shattered the galactic empire, ushering in a new era for humanity. The spark of rebellion had now spread across the entire galaxy, and humanity reclaimed its rightful place through their blood and intellect. After the war, Voss stood in front of the palace, looking out at the galactic horizon, and took a deep breath. "We won," he said, finally finding peace with his anger. "Now, a new era begins. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story."